Good morning, friends. Welcome to the view from here, the Faith Walk in Real Time. Yes, I know your view from there looks a little bit different today. As I'm recording my vlog, I'm doing it just a little bit differently just for today. And of course, I'm doing it in standing. I have my little workout clothes on. I'm trying to, or maybe multitask this morning, but I'm so excited to come to you this morning with this word of encouragement. And that's what this vlog is going to be all about. It's going to be a word of encouragement. So I do have a lot of energy. I've been up, I've done my exercising. I'm going to tape a spot for my fitness challenge that I do, which is on Facebook. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So trying to get all of that done this morning, but I was so excited that I wanted to be sure to come to you with this word of encouragement before I did anything else. Today, what we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about the hazards of comparison. And don't we all do it? I know we do. And this has been happening, I know for me personally, probably since about preschool. You always compare yourself to someone else, their talents, or in their skills or their abilities. And the thing is, it will get in our way. It has impeded me from doing the things that sometimes I know I should or that I want to do. And again, been happening since preschool. You know, you look over at your little buddy's paper and they're all coloring inside the lines and you can't do that. And it just makes you want to give up, makes you just want to push that paper away. Comparison is never a good thing. I'm just going to step out on a limb and say that I really believe that comparison, especially when we're talking about our talents, our abilities, and what we're called to do, is never a good thing. Again, it has been a big hazard for me in my personal life, my family life, my occupation, and what the Lord has called me to do for Him. You always have doubts there's always going to be that person or those people who might be better, who might be a little more skilled or a little more successful at what they're doing. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing what you're doing, or that doesn't mean that your family's not okay, or that doesn't mean that you should give up on fitness or whatever you're trying to attain. And comparison, again, I think it's been happening for a long time. I know for a fact it was happening even back in Bible times. If you will read the story of Moses, or at least this portion of the story of Moses, you will see that that it's been happening for a long time. And even to the extent that Moses actually questioned God about his call, because he didn't think maybe he had what it took, which is kind of funny since God created us anyway. So I'm going to visit that for just a minute. I want to read this to you because this is really cool. Very interesting. This is in Exodus chapter 4 and verse 10, and it plays in so well to what we're talking about today. So 4:10, Moses said to the Lord, "Pardon your servant, Lord. I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue." So the Lord had called him to do something, and what he's saying here, which really was kind of a gutsy move, was, I don't think you have the right person. Slow of speech, tongue, I don't actually get it right. You're asking me to speak to these people, and I think probably someone else can do that better. What do you hear there? Comparison. That's exactly. Now, I don't know that for a fact, but you would think that Moses would have to be comparing himself to someone else, or he never would have come up with this fact that maybe he was not good enough. And then he turns around to his creator and says, you just may be wrong. Well, that was gutsy in a couple different ways. Number one, he is the creator, and we pretend like maybe he's made a mistake or doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah, that's just not so. But the wonderful blessing out of all of that is that we can actually go to God and say, I'm having these concerns, these insecurities, and these worries, and you can just lay that all down at His feet, and He can help you through that process. But the hazard here was comparison. Now let's just listen real quick to God's response, because I think this is going to be important to you as we practice this non-comparison thing. In verse 11, the Lord said to him, "Who gave human beings their mouths? Who makes them deaf or mute? Who gives them sight or makes them blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak and teach you what to say." So the point is, those are the things we are not to worry about. We are not to compare ourselves to other people and their skills and their abilities. You are uniquely and fearfully and wonderfully made. He made you to be exactly the way you are. We can improve on things, absolutely. But if he's called you to do something, then you will be able to do it. He will accomplish it through you. He made you. He said the same to Moses. I made you. I made humans. I gave them speech. Do you really think that I've made a bad choice and I can't do this? So that, again, your word of encouragement today is just don't compare yourselves to other people. Some examples from my own life. In my occupation, when I was a physical therapist assistant, I would get so discouraged. I went back to school midlife, and so this was all very new to me. Some of these folks, even though they were younger than me that I was working with, had been in the field longer, and they were technically much better at their job. But instead of seeing that as a learning opportunity or a learning source, I just felt inadequate. I felt like if I couldn't do it as well as they did, then I might as well not be doing it at all. But I knew beyond the shadow of a doubt that for that time in my life, that's what the Lord had called me to do. So instead of looking at what strengths I had, like being a servant, compassionate, those are some things that you can't always teach. Things like that. Instead of drawing on my strengths and saying maybe this is why I'm here, and then drawing on the experience of my coworkers and letting them help me get technically better, I really just wanted to give it up. Now I did quit that field, but not because of those reasons. Eventually, I became confident in my own self and in my skills, and the Lord helped me to see that I was where I needed to be, and where He called me to be at that time. And it happens with our families too. We look at other people's families and think, "Oh man, we are really missing the boat." And by comparison, you think your family is not a success. But I'm here to tell you, friends, you don't know what goes on. I want to say behind closed doors, or people just don't always bare their guts and their troubles. There's always something going on. Everybody has their stuff. Don't compare your family to someone else's to see if they're if you deem them being successful. And don't hold them to those standards. Comparison, again, is never a good thing. So don't compare yourself to other people. Fitness. Same deal. Part of my life is I'm a fitness instructor at DC Fit, and I absolutely love that. When I was first invited to come teach a class, and I'm a certified personal trainer, so I knew I had the skills to do that. When I was first invited, I was absolutely petrified. And part of the reason was I was comparing myself to the other instructor that was already in place that had a lot of more experience and just a different way of teaching, and I was afraid, and I was very, very close to saying no. But I knew that for that time in my life, that's what the Lord was calling me to do. And if I had said no because of comparison, all the blessings I would have missed. I love that piece of my life, and I love teaching those people. And I did step out, and I just did it, and I refined it, and I learned from the other instructor, and I just learned from experience what to do, what worked. But most of all, I just care so much for them, and that will come through with whatever you do. That will come through, and again, if I hadn't gone forward with that, I would have missed such a blessing. We are friends. We're in communion with one another, and I absolutely love that class, and I can't imagine my life without those people. But it's because I went forward, because that's what the Lord asked me to do. I went forward with that and stopped comparing myself to other people. So it works across the board to not compare yourself to other people. Don't be intimidated by someone's maybe level of education or experience. If the Lord is calling you to do something, or you just feel you are born and built to do something, go for it. But then swim in your own lane. Don't focus on other people. That's a new motto I have adopted, is swim in my own lane. I have a tendency to focus on things that aren't really my place to focus on. I'm a fixer by nature, so if I see something out here that needs fixed, I tend to focus on that. So I have adopted this motto for myself, and it's helped me in a lot of ways. And one of those ways is I don't focus on how talented someone else is. I focus on what Jesus is calling me to do and how I can affect that in my little sphere of influence. If I was forever, I love to write and speak, and I do feel like that I was born to do that. But if I compared myself and said, well, I'm not a Lisa Turkers, so I shouldn't be doing this, or I'm not a Liz Curtis Higgs, so I shouldn't be doing this. I know that if today I went to Phil Waldrop and said, hey, can I speak at the next Women of Joy? He'd say, no, I don't know who you are. So, but I don't let that discourage me. I'm going to keep doing what I do, what I feel like I've been born to do, and what Jesus has called me to do, because He created me this way. He knows He didn't make a mistake when He called me. He didn't make a mistake when He called you. So we need to just keep doing what it is that we do, and in all areas of our life. And in the fitness area, you can't compare yourself or your performance or your skills or abilities to anyone else, or it's going to keep you from doing it. And that's why I've created the fitness challenge I was talking to you about earlier. So I have a Facebook page. It's a fitness challenge. It's very basic for beginner exercisers, or just folks who haven't done it for like a long time, or maybe limited, I guess, skill set is what I want to say. It's just a challenge to get people thinking about exercise and to give them the confidence that they need without feeling like they're comparing themselves to someone else, because this is an individual challenge. So anyway, all that to say, comparison is a bad thing. If that's what you're doing, stop. We can always get better, and if that's our goal, is to get better at something, that's fine. But never put this person up on a pedestal or up here and say, well, if I'm not that, then I can't do this, because it's just not right. If it's what you've been born to do, what Jesus called you to do, or even just what you want to do not compare yourself to others. Just keep doing that thing you do, and know that the Lord will give you strength to accomplish those things and to be exactly what He made you to be. I hope this has been a word of encouragement to you. I know it has encouraged my heart. Thank you for letting me come to you today, and I appreciate it, and for giving the workout clothes and whatnot. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Have a great weekend. Have a great week. Keep this with you. Think about that this week. Swim in your own lane. No comparisons here. Jesus loves you. He made you just the way you are. Shine just exactly the way you are. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you again. Be blessed.